Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving headfirst into a world shrouded in mystery and steeped in tradition, the world of the Eskemoz. This isn't just some run-of-the-mill gang, man. We're talking about a centuries-old syndicate with roots that run deeper than you can imagine. Over the next hour, we'll unpack 15 intriguing facts about the Eskemoz, their legendary rise to power, and the iron fist with which they rule Japan's underworld. We're going to talk about their brutal rituals, their insane wealth, and the crazy stories that have cemented their place in criminal history. Are you ready to dive deep into the shadows? Let's get started. So, where do we even begin with a group like the Eskemoz? Man, you gotta go back centuries, back to the Edo period in Japan. We're talking samurai, shoguns, the whole 9 yards. Back then, you had these shadowy figures, the takea and the bakuto. These guys were the original gangsters, man, the proto-Eskemoz. They had their own codes, their own rituals. Some of those traditions are still part of the Eskemoz initiation today. Imagine that, a direct link to feudal Japan's underworld. It's like something out of a movie, but this is real. This is the foundation of the Eskemoz empire. They built their empire to last. They weaponized old-school values, loyalty, discipline, respect. They created a hierarchy with the kumicho at the top. This ain't your average street gang, folks. This is an organization with structure, history, and reach. The Eskemoz mean business. You gotta understand, the Eskemoz, they're structured like a family. At the top, you have the oyabun, the godfather, the big kahuna. He's the patriarch, the ultimate authority. Under him, you have a complex network of kobun, his children, his loyal followers. This ain't just some symbolic thing, man. It's a deeply ingrained system of obligation and loyalty. The kobun owe everything to the oyabun, their livelihood, their protection, their very lives. In return, they offer unwavering loyalty and obedience. This system of hierarchy, of oyabun and kobun, it's what's kept the Eskemoz together for centuries. It's what's allowed them to survive wars, crackdowns, and internal power struggles. It's like a freaking military organization with ranks and divisions, each with their own specific roles and responsibilities. You got your enforcers, your money men, your fixers, all working together to keep the machine running smoothly. And believe me, this machine, it's a well-oiled machine. It's been around for centuries, adapting and evolving, always staying one step ahead of the game. You might think the Eskemoz, with their strict hierarchy, would keep it in the family, right? Think again. The Eskemoz have always been a haven for outcasts. They recruit from all walks of life, caring only about loyalty and ruthlessness. The initiation process is brutal, testing your mettle. If you prove yourself, you become part of the family, gaining protection and brotherhood. It's a dangerous life, but for some, it's the only life they know. World War II, man. It changed the game for everyone, and the Eskemoz were no exception. After the war, Japan was in ruins. The economy was shot, the government was weak, and chaos reigned. It was the perfect breeding ground for organized crime, and the Eskemoz, they were ready to seize the opportunity. Guys like Kazuo Taoka, they saw a chance to rebuild, to expand their power and influence like never before, and they took it. Under Taoka's leadership, the Eskemoz, they went from a fringe group to a major force in Japanese society. They muscled their way into legitimate businesses. They forged alliances with politicians and businessmen. They became a force to be reckoned with. They were like the freaking mafia in America, man. They had their fingers in everything. Gambling, drugs, prostitution, you name it. And nobody, not even the government, could touch them. They were too powerful, too well-connected, too damn good at what they did. It was the golden age of the Eskemoz, and they ruled Japan with an iron fist. All right, let's talk money. How much money do the Eskemoz actually have? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? See, these guys, they don't exactly file tax returns. Their money, it's dirty money. It's earned through illegal activities and hidden away in shell corporations and offshore accounts. But even though we can't pinpoint an exact figure, we know one thing for sure. The Eskemoz, they are rolling in dough. We're talking billions, man, maybe even tens of billions of dollars. Just look at the Yamaguchi Gumi, the largest and most powerful Eskemoz syndicate. These guys, they're like a Fortune 500 company, with thousands of members and operations spanning across multiple continents. They're involved in everything from construction and real estate to finance and entertainment. They own businesses, they control politicians, They even have their own freaking hospitals. Now, you might think that with all this power and money, the Eskemoz would be one big happy family, right? Well, think again. See, the thing about power is that it corrupts, and when you've got a bunch of ambitious gangsters all vying for a piece of the pie, things can get messy. The history of the Eskemoz is littered with stories of internal power struggles, bloody turf wars, and outright assassinations. These guys, they're not afraid to turn on each other, to eliminate the competition by any means necessary. One of the most famous examples of this is the Yama-Ichi War, a brutal conflict between the Yamaguchi-gumi and the Ichiwakai that raged throughout the 1980s. This wasn't just some small-time gang war, man. We're talking about car bombs, shootings, even freaking rocket launchers. People were getting killed left and right, both gangsters and innocent bystanders. It was like something out of a freaking movie, except this was real life. Alright, let's talk about the dark side of the Eskemoz, the stuff that keeps you up at night. These guys, they're involved in some seriously messed up stuff, and one of the most disturbing is their involvement in human trafficking. We're talking about women and children, man, being forced into prostitution against their will. It's modern-day slavery, and the Eskemoz, they're profiting from it. They run brothels, they traffic women from other countries, they prey on the vulnerable and desperate. And the worst part is, they've been doing it for decades. Some reports even suggest that their involvement in sex trafficking dates back to World War II, when they allegedly forced women into sexual slavery for Japanese soldiers. It's a dark and horrifying chapter in their history, and one that they've tried to keep hidden from the public eye. But the truth is out there, man, and it's about time these guys were held accountable for their crimes. So, we've talked about the Eskimos' power, their wealth, their brutality, but what about their rituals, their codes of conduct? One ritual that stands out is the yubitsume, or finger-cutting ritual. Imagine this, you screw up, you disrespect your oyabun, you bring shame upon the family, your punishment? You have to chop off your own freaking finger. It's brutal, it's symbolic, and it's a testament to the Eskimos' commitment to discipline and obedience. The severed finger, it's not just a punishment, man, it's an offering. A way to atone for your sins and show your oyabun that you're willing to do whatever it takes to make things right. It's a way to prove your loyalty, your remorse, your willingness to sacrifice for the greater good of the family. This ritual, it's been around for centuries, and it's still practiced today. It's a chilling reminder of the dark side of the Eskimos, the lengths they'll go to maintain order and control. Ever wonder where the name Eskemoz comes from? It's not some ancient Japanese word or anything like that. It's actually a lot simpler and maybe a little bit ironic. The name Eskemoz comes from the Japanese card game Oicho Kabu. Now, in Oicho Kabu, the worst possible hand you can get is an 8, a 9, and a 3. Why is that significant? Because when you add those numbers together, you get 20. But in the game, 20 is worth 0. It's a losing hand. So how did a losing hand become the name for one of the most powerful criminal organizations in the world? Well, some say it's because the early Eskemoz members saw themselves as outcasts, as losers in the eyes of society. Others believe it's a reminder that even the most powerful can fall from grace. Whatever the reason, the name Eskemoz has become synonymous with organized crime, with power, and with the dark underbelly of Japanese society. So, here we are at the end of our journey into the heart of the Eskemoz. We've talked about their history, their rituals, their crimes, their enduring power. But what does the future hold for this enigmatic organization? The Eskemoz, they've been around for centuries, weathering storms and adapting to change. They've survived wars, crackdowns, and internal conflicts. But the world is changing, man, and the Eskemoz, they're gonna have to change with it. The old ways, they're not always the best ways, and the Eskemoz, they're starting to realize that. They're facing pressure from the government, from the public, even from within their own ranks. The younger generation, they're not as willing to follow blindly in the footsteps of their elders. They want a piece of the pie, and they're not afraid to challenge the status quo to get it. The future of the Eskemoz is uncertain, shrouded in mystery, just like their past. But one thing's for sure, they're not going away anytime soon. So, there you have it, folks. 15 intriguing facts about the Eskemoz, a group that continues to fascinate and terrify in equal measure. They are a product of their history, shaped by centuries of tradition and turmoil. Their story is a complex tapestry of power, loyalty, brutality, and intrigue, one that continues to unfold in the shadows of Japanese society. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos. Until next time, stay curious.